I've brought it up a couple of times before, but the piano is such a strong thematic element to this chapter and the game as a whole. You see, whenever Chris got the chance to play a piano prior to this point, they'd play a very specific song, one titled Concert for You. It is 3 seconds long and it goes a little something like this. That's it. The only time they ever feel comfortable playing the piano at all, aside from when Susie and Rousey encourage them to, was this brief, tiny window of time where not only are they free from our control, but when they're under the impression that we have no chance of hearing them play. Why exactly that is? I don't know, it's definitely a thing. It's not that they can't play because of us, as, well, they absolutely can. They simply choose not to, so it might just be a, grr, you possess me and make me do weird stuff I don't want to do, so fuck you, you don't get to hear me play out of spite. And I could totally be wrong here, but that's not really how I read this. It's not like we truly make Chris do things they don't want to do. If they want to resist our control, they can and occasionally do. Even regarding the weird route we know now, Chris would never do what we compel them to do. They even try to undo it all against our will. They hate us for instigating it, and rightfully so, but we know that in some perverted way they enjoy it and take solace in the fact that they don't have to take full responsibility for their actions, for our actions. Chris's relationship with the piano is something that I just struggle to find the words for, but it's handled in such a personal feeling way, a way that feels like an insight to the very creative process behind Deltarune. Making art, letting it out into the world, it's a deeply personal process, one that truly takes a lot of deep digging to do. Maybe it is a Chris struggling for control thing, I don't know, but looking at that scene in Chapter 4, looking at Chris's sprite animation, it's a clear personification of the passion that goes into making art, the very passion that goes into making something like Deltarune, which, from a lore perspective, it's a process I don't think Chris can do, at least do naturally, easily, because of us, but in a more artistic sense, I also think Chris's hesitance regarding their musical prowess kinda reflects Susie's desire to be better at healing magic, which is something I've found a lot of relatability in. Not the healing magic part, the wanting to be better at a thing part. I'm not like a astrologist or whatever. Throughout the chapter, she tries her hand at healing magic, but it's just not something she's great at yet, culminating in what's honestly one of my favorite scenes in the game, kind of a sleeper. Like, it doesn't just foreshadow the final boss against the Titan, which is something the whole of the Jackenstein boss kinda did. Well, like, story-wise, Gerson urges her to practice at it, but she's held back. She's held back by this fear of not being good enough, of embarrassing herself, and what's the point of trying? I mean, after all, she'll never be as good as Rousey, right? She'll never be as good as Rousey, so why even try? But she grows beyond that, becoming a great healer in her own right, and considering Gerson's whole character revolving around writing and storytelling and freedom to subvert things seemingly inscribed solid in stone, I don't think there's any way that's unintentional. Sure, there's always going to be someone or something better than me, better than you, better than the things we make and do, but that doesn't really matter because there's no other way to get better than to practice, than to study the old masters and hone your craft, and that's sort of what Gerson's all about. He's just so cool, man. I don't know who said it originally, but I heard some guy who follows me on Twitter say once that comparison is the thief of joy, and comparison may as well be my middle name, and so I've always strived to create this super original thing that no one's ever thought of before with no influence from anything ever whatsoever, but that's just not doable. Not because I'm not a creative person, I mean, well, we'll see about that, the jury's still out, but because the games, the stories, the works of art that made me who I am now, I can't separate myself from. Games like Deltarune and One Shot and Amori, the other great indie darlings, games like Breath of the Wild and Mario Galaxy and The Last of Us, movies like Birdman and Star Wars and Goodfellas spawn dozens and dozens of other pieces of art. They're a part of me, and just like how their inspirations were a part of whoever made them. You know, I've always said Super Paper Mario was my favorite game, and the main reason for that is the fact that it sort of encompasses everything I want to see in a game to some extent, and Deltarune sort of fills that role now. It has for a while. Like, the only thing keeping me from saying that this is my favorite game ever made is the fact that it's not finished yet, and inevitably, the fruits of my labor are gonna reflect that. Games like Deltarune, like I said, they include all the things I want in a game, and I make games I want to actually play, so of course, there'll be some similarities. That's natural. I mean, after all, this was the game that made me realize I could make games. The very first story I started writing for a game is heavily inspired by this one. It's not something we'll see for a while, but that's not the point. Of course, there'll be some similarities similarities. That's natural, and not only am I okay with that, I happily welcome that now with open arms. I accept that, because that's what art is supposed to do. That's what stories are supposed to be.
Yeah, all that being said, I haven't gotten a good night's sleep in like a month or two, and I have no idea what any of this has to do with Deltarune, so I'm just gonna wrap it up. Alright, so story's good, tropes good, Deltarune good, sleep deprivation bad,